why did this say it's been live for 50? Oh, okay. All right. Hello. I just need to double check to make sure the sound works in case this is trying to be weird to me. Works. Oh, and it do. And it do. Okay. All right. So, what are we reading? I just titled it too. What are we reading? We're reading Genesis 28 to 35. Okay. Genesis 28 to 35. I have the New King James Version in this study Bible that I'm going to read to you guys today because the Authorized King James was eating me up. I was like, oh, Jesus, I know how to read. So, we are going to get started. I'm thinking that I want to do these at 5 o'clock. If something ever changes, just watch the one previous. I mean, I'm thinking like 5 o'clock, but depending on, like I have somebody who has like a volleyball game that I want to go watch that starts at 5:30. So I probably would do that one either earlier or later, but regardless, I'm gonna get on. So just turn on the notifications. So then when I do go live, you get, notified. So then you can join with me. So we are going to start. Lord, I just thank you for today. I thank you for your presence, Father God. I thank you for speaking to me today, Lord. I hear you, and I just pray that this word speaks to whoever's watching and to myself, and that, again, we could just build a closer relationship, Lord. I'm praying that something touches my heart and penetrates into my heart today from your word. In your name I pray. Amen. All right, chapter 28. So it says, Isaac sends Jacob to get a wife. Then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said, you shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Padan Aram to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take yourself a wife from there, the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may be an assembly of peoples, and give you the blessing of Abraham to you and your descendants with you, that you may inherit the land in which you are a stranger, which God gave to Abraham. So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padan Aram to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Esau takes an Ishmaelite wife. Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take himself a wife there, and that he blessed him and gave him charge, saying, you shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, and that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and gone on to Padan Aram. Also, Esau saw the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Isaac. So Esau went to Ishmael and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sisters of Nabajoth, to be his wife in addition to the wives that he had. I'm pretty sure. So what this is saying that I'm seeing is that Esau saw that Isaac told Jacob to not get with a Canaanite woman, and he saw that those women did not please his father, and so he went and did it anyway because he knew that it wasn't going to please his father. Okay. Jacob dreams and hears God's promise. Now Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran, and he came to a certain place and stayed there all night, because the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and put it at his head, and he lay down in that place to sleep. Then he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set on the earth, and its top reached to the heavens, and there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, and God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and your descendants. Also your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad in the west and the east, to the south, to the north and the south. And in you and in your seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Behold, I am with you, and I will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land. For I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Jacob names the place Bethel. Then Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put at his head, set it up as a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. And he called the name of the place Bethel. But the name of the city had been Luz previously. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, If God be with me and keep me in this way, then I am going, and give me bread to eat and clothing to put on, so that I will come back to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. And this stone which I have set as this pillar shall be God's house, and all that you give me, I will surely give a tenth to you. Okay, so we're seeing tithe. This is a tithe right here. I will surely give a tenth to you. So the first time that we see a tithe is with Jacob saying that to the Lord. The Lord didn't even ask for that. All right, so that's chapter 28. So far we see that Esau purposely takes a wife. But you know what, actually? Hold on. Because it says Isaac sends Jacob to get a wife. Now, Isaac sends Jacob to go get a wife. Okay, that's fine. But why wouldn't he tell Esau about where to get a wife either? Because I'm not, hold on, let me make sure these are brothers. They're brothers. This is where Esau was the oldest and Jacob came out holding his heel. Yeah, these are brothers. I know I wasn't tripping that to just make sure. But these are brothers, which means that the father should be treating them both equally. So he should have sent, Esau on and gave him advice on how to get a wife. But maybe it was too late by then. Anyway, so we see that Esau purposely does not goes against his father, even though his father didn't give him direction. So that's one of the notes. Why didn't Isaac give Esau directions on finding a wife? That's my first question. But also, Esau already had wives. It says he went to Ishmael and took a daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, to be his wife in addition to the wives he had. So he already had wives. So this is really just out of spite. You already had wives. And not only that, but like we talked about before, when Eve was created, the Lord did not send multiple women. It was one person. And it says, the two shall join together to become one, not several wives come together with a husband to become one. So anyway, 29, Jacob meets Rachel. So Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east, and he looked and saw a well in the field. And behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that the well they had watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone back from the well's mouth, water the sheep, put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. Then Jacob said to them, my brethren, where are you from? And they said, we are from Haran. And he said to them, do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said to him, we know him. So he said to them, is he well? And they said, he is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep. And he said, look, it is still a high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them. But they said, we cannot until all the flocks are gathered together, and they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. Now while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. Laban deceives Jacob. Then it came to pass when Laban heard the report of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things. And Laban said, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh." And he stayed with him for a month. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be?" Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful. Oh, sorry. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. Now Jacob, and when they say word delicate, they were calling her ugly, just because I knew that from another translation. Anyway, hold on, let me see what this translation says. 29:17. This says, what is this? This is where am I at? 29:17. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. So I think they said something about Leah having like a lazy eye, something like that. But obviously, Rachel was beautiful and prettier than Leah, because that's what they keep saying. But she was she was pretty. Anyway, now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, "I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter." And Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than I should give her to another man. Stay with me." So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because and they seemed like only a few days to him because of the love that he had for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, for the days are fulfilled that I may go enter." And Laban gathered together all the men of the palace and made a feast. Now it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. And Laban gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, "What is this that you have done to me? Was it not Rachel that I served you? Why then would you deceive me?" And Laban said, "It must not be done so in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give this one also for the service which you will serve me an additional 7 years." Then Jacob did so and fulfilled her week. So he gave him his daughter Rachel as a wife also. And Laban gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. Then Jacob also went into Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served with Laban still another 7 years. So you see Laban talking about, "You are bone and you are of my bone and flesh," and still out here being deceitful. Deceitful. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Verse 31. Then the Lord saw that Leah was unloved. He opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So Leah's the one that he doesn't like as much. Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, "The Lord has surely looked on my affliction, and therefore my husband will love me." Then she conceived again and bore a son, and said, "Because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he therefore has given me a son also." And she called him Simeon. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, "Now this time my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons." Therefore his name was called Levi. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, "Now I will praise the Lord," because she called his name Judah. And then she stopped bearing. So Leah, the wife that he doesn't like as much, gets to bear 4 sons, and Rachel is barren. Now, is Rachel barren because of how Jacob is treating her, or treating Leah? Maybe, because it says the Lord saw that Leah was unloved. So because Leah was unloved, she got to bear children, but because Rachel was loved by her husband, she didn't, which again goes into the whole relationships and how you can be impacted by other people's decisions. Chapter 30. What are we reading to again? I think 35. Now when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said to Jacob, "Give me children, or else I'll die." And Jacob's anger was aroused against Rachel, and he said, Am I in the place of God who has withheld you from the fruit of the womb? So she said, Here's my maid Bilhah. Go into her, and she will bear a child on my knees, that I may have children by her. Here we go again. Then she gave Bilhah her maid as wife, and Jacob went into her. And Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said, God has judged my case, and he has heard my voice and given me a son. Therefore she called his name Dan. And Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, With the great wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and indeed I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. Mind you, she's not even wrestling with her sister. There. Oh, this is spirit. Oh, okay. With great wrestlings, I have wrestled with my sister, and I have indeed prevailed. Mind you, the sister didn't stop her from bearing children. It's actually her husband. But this is actually a good. This is a good example of like understanding the spiritual realm and like spiritual like warfare kind of, or even like things that come from the Lord, because we can get caught up in other people. Like she's thinking that she's warring with her sister, and that's not even the case. She should be warring with the fact that her husband isn't showing her sister love. Mind you, these are sisters, so that she should love her enough to tell her husband, like, love my sister, like, don't just neglect my sister. But she's not. And that is why she's barren, not because of anything her sister did. It's interesting. And it's interesting again that another woman given their husband their maid, and not like asking the Lord why they're barren. Just like Hagar. All right. Leah gives Zilpah to Jacob. Then Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, and she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as a wife. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, A troop comes. So she called his name Gad or Jad. I'm going to say Jad. I'm going to call him that. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, I am happy, for the daughters will call me blessed. So she called him Asher. Wow. So she could have kids, have 4 kids. Then her sister was jealous, gave Jacob her maid to have children. Then Leah sees that she's done having kids, so she gives Jacob her maid. It's just a whole bunch of foolishness. This is giving housewives. More sons are born to Leah. Now Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. I don't know what a mandrake is. Let me just Google it real quick. Let me just Google what is a mandrake in the Bible. Oh, so it's a large wrinkled leaf, small purple flower, and the root may be several feet long. They were believed to stimulate, help with fertility and conception in barren women. Okay. All right. So Reuben, who I think Reuben is Leah's son. Is that the first one? Yeah. Reuben is Leah's son. Now Reuben went in the days of the wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah, probably trying to help her. Then Rachel said to Leah, Please give me some of your son's mandrakes, his aunt. Oh, so the sister is asking the other sister. But she said to her, Is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes too? And Rachel said, Therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes. Oh, so Rachel is telling Leah that Jacob's going to live with her so then she can have some of the mandrakes. When Jacob came home out of the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, You must come into me, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrakes. This is wild. And he lay with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a 5th son. Leah said, God has given me my wages because I have given my maid to my husband. So she called his name Issachar. Then Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a 6th son. And Leah said, God has endowed me with good endowment. Now my husband will dwell with me because I have borne him 6 sons. So she called his name Zebulun. Afterwards, she bore a daughter and called her Dinah or Dina. Let me say Dina. Joseph is born to Rachel. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb, and she conceived and bore a son, and said, God has taken away my reproach. And she called him Joseph, and said, the Lord shall add to me another son. Jacob seeks release from service. Actually, no, I'm not going to skip over that. So this says, then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her. So it hasn't, all of the previous verses doesn't say that Rachel ever cried out to the Lord. It just said that she was upset with her sister and she tried to solve the problem herself by giving Jacob her maid. But it says that God listened to her, which means that I feel like she spoke to God about this. I don't know which time, but the fact that it says God listened to her, she must have said something to him. Okay. And it came to pass, when Rachel born Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, send me away that I may go in my own place and at my own country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you know my service which I have done for you. And Laban said to him, please stay if I find favor in your eyes, for I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. The Lord has blessed me for your sake. I'm sorry, I'm just going to continue to overdo this because community is so important. Who you hang around is so important. And he said, name your wages and I will give it. So Jacob said to him, you know, I have served you and how your livestock has been with me. For you had, before I came, was little, and it has increased a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming. And now when I shall also provide, and now when shall I also provide for my own house? And he said, what shall I give you? And Jacob said, you shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all of your flock today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all of speckled and brown sheep, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and these shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me in time to come. When the subject of my wages comes before you, everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the lambs will be considered stolen if it is with me. And Laban said, oh, that it were according to your word. And he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the brown ones among the lamb. And he gave them to the hands of his sons. Then he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flock. So Jacob is saying, give me all the messed up sheep, and that'll be my wages. Now Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar and almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white, which was the rods. And the rods that he peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters and the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink, so they could conceive where they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and flocks brought forth streaked and speckled and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face towards the street, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by himself and did not put him with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed rods under the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they may conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feeblers were Laban's, and the stronger were Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous and had large flocks, female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Smart. I don't know if that's sneaky or not. Maybe it's just smart. It's not giving deceive or deceitful. All right, chapter 31. Jacob decides to return to Canaan. Now Jacob heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob has taken away all of our all that was our father's, and from what our father's he has acquired all his wealth. And Jacob saw the countenance of Laban, and indeed it was not favorable towards him as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and your family, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock and said to them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not favorable towards me as before, but the God of my father has been with me. And you know that with all my might I have served your father. Yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore a speckle. And if he said thus, the streak shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore a streak. So God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it happened at the time when the flocks were conceived that I lifted my eyes and saw in a dream, behold, rams that leaped upon the flocks were streaked, speckled, and gray spotted. Then the angel of God spoke to me in a dream, saying, Jacob, here I am. And he said, lift your eyes now and see all the rams that leaped on the flocks are streaked, speckled, and gray spotted, for I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar and where you made a vow to me. Now arise, get out of this land, and return to the land of your family. Then Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, is there any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not considered strangers by him? For he has sold us and completely consumed our money. For all the riches which God has taken from our father are really ours and our children's. And now then, whatever God has said to you, do it. Jacob and his wives leave secretly. Then Jacob arose and set his sons and his wives on the camels, and he carried all the livestock and all his possessions which he had gained, his acquired livestock which he gained in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were his father's. Jacob stole away unknown to Laban the Syrian, and that he did not tell him that he intended to flee. So he fled with all that he had, and he arose and crossed the river and headed towards the mountains of Gilead. So Rachel stole household idols, and technically Jacob stole because he didn't tell Laban that he was going to leave. This whole bunch is deceit, just deceit, and stealing. And this is Laban's pursuit. And Laban was told on the third day that Jacob had fled, and he took his brethren with him and pursued him for a 7 days journey. And he overtook him in the mountains of Gilead. But God had come to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said to him, be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad. So Laban overtook Jacob, and Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mountains of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, what have you done that you have stolen away unknown to me and carried away my daughters like captives taken by the sword? Why did you flee away secretly and steal from me and not tell me? For I might have sent you away with joy and song, with timbrel and harp. And you did not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Now you have done foolishly in doing so. It is in my power to do you harm. But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad. And now you have surely gone because you greatly long for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods? Then Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, perhaps you will take your daughters from me by force. With whomever you find your gods, do not let him live. In the presence of our brethren, identify what I have of yours and take it with you. For Jacob did not know Rachel had stolen them. First of all, am I tripping? Because Laban, who is Laban now? Now I'm a little confused, because why do you even have gods? That's idolatry. Do you know Laban, the son of? So look into this, because who is Laban now? Now I'm a little confused. Okay. Isaac sent Jacob away. He went to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Oh, Rebecca's fishy too. Okay, Rebecca being fishy. She's the same one that had them out there deceiving their dad. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. Anyway, so why did you steal my gods? So we got some. I just wrote idolatry because gods is we only serve one God. Anyway, Rachel stole the God that he was talking about. But another thing I want to point out is it says 26, and Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done that you have stolen away unknown to me? Why did you flee away secretly and steal from me and not tell me?" This is verse 27. That I may, for I might have sent you away with joy and song, with timbrel and harp. You did not allow me to kiss my sons and daughters. So sometimes we be like running away from stuff, and it's not even like the people who we're running away from won't even behave in the way that we think they would. And this is a way to end or like depart from somebody is like with joy and song, even if it's not like a perfect situation. Like this is how we're supposed to end things with joy and song. This is how things should end, especially with family and like loved ones. All right, Laban searched for his idols, and Laban went to Jacob's tent, and to Leah's tent, and into the two maids' tent, but he did not find them. Then he went out to Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household items and put them in the camel saddle and sat on them. And Laban searched all of the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, "Let it not displease my lord that I cannot arise before you, for the manner of woman is with me," as in she's on her period. And he searched but did not find the idol. So now she not only stole, but she out here lying. Ooh, this stuff is neat. Rachel steals, hides it, and lies. Shaking my head. Mind you, this is her dad. But that's how we be with our father. Well, prime example. Then Jacob was angry and rebuked Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, "What is my trespass? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued me? Although you have searched all my things, what part of your household things have you found? See it here before my brethren and your brethren, that the judge may be between us both. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your flock, that which was torn by beasts. I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it. You required it from my hand, whether stolen by the day or stolen by the night. There I was in the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes. Thus I have been in your house 20 years. I have served you 14 for your two daughters and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac has been with me. Surely now you have sent away empty handed. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night." Jacob and Laban make a treaty. And Laban answered Jacob, "These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these flock are my flock. All that you see is mine. But what I can do this day to these daughters or to their children whom I have borne. Now therefore come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me." So Jacob took a stone and set up a pillar. Then Jacob said to his brethren, "Gather stones," and they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. Laban called it Jagar Sahathua, but Jacob called it Galeed. And Laban said, "This heap is a witness between you and me this day. Therefore, its its the name. Wait, therefore its name was called Galeed, or yeah, I think Galeed, also Mizpah, because he had said, 'May the Lord watch between you and me when we were absent from one another. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives beside my daughters, although no man is with us, see God is witness between you and me.'" Then Laban said to Jacob, Here is the heap, and here is the pillar which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not pass behind this heap to you, and you will not pass beyond this heap and this pillar to me for harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and called his brethren to eat bread. And they ate bread and stayed all night on the mountain. And early in the morning, Laban arose, kissed his sons and daughters, and blessed them. And then Laban departed and returned to his place. All right, chapter 32. Jacob prepares to meet Esau. So Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." And he called that name of the place Mahanaim. Mahana? Then Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Speak thus to my lord Esau. Thus your servant Jacob says, I have dwelt with Laban and stayed there until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, male and female servants, that I have sent to tell my lord that I find favor in your sight." Then the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and he's coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." So Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that were with him, the flocks and herds and camels, into two companies. And he said, "If Esau comes to one company and attacks it, then the other company which is left will escape." Then Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, 'Return to your country and to your family, and I will deal well with you.' I am not worthy of least all the mercies and all the truth which you have shown your servant. For I crossed over this Jordan with my staff, and now become two companies. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and attack me and the mother with children. For you said, I will surely treat you well and make your descendants of the sand and sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." So Jacob's coming back to meet Esau, and he's scared of Esau because he know how he did him. Boom. So he lodged there that same night and took what came to his hand as a present for Esau his brother: 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milk camels and their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkey, and 10 fowls. Foals. Then he divided them into the hands of his servants, every drove by itself, and said to his servants, "Pass over before me and put some distance between successive droves." And he commanded the first one, saying, "When Esau, my brother, meets you and asks you, saying, 'To whom do you belong and where are you going? Whose are these in front of you?' Then you shall say, 'These are your servant Jacob's. It is a present sent by my lord Esau. And behold, he is behind us." So he commanded the second and the third and all those following, saying, "In this manner you shall speak to Esau when you find him. And also say, Behold, your servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterwards I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept me." So the present went on before him, but he himself lodged that night in the camp. Jacob wrestles with God. And he arose that night and took his two wives, his two female servants, and the 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over to the brook and sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone, and the man wrestled with him until the breaking day. Now, when he saw he did not prevail against him, he touched the hip of his socket, and the socket of Jacob's Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. He being an angel, because it's a capital H, so he is somebody who is the Lord or an angel. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." But he said, "I will not let you go until you bless me." So he said to him, "What is your name?" He said, "Jacob." And he said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked, saying, "Tell me your name, I pray." And he said, "Why is that you ask me by my name?" And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Just as he crossed over Peniel, the sun rose on him, and he limped on his hip. Therefore, to this day, the children of Israel do not eat of the muscle that shrank, which is on the hip socket, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip and the muscle that shrank. I'm just going to look at that on this version real quick. Okay, so this is good. So it says, verse 28. Oh, we're starting at verse 26. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God, with men, and hast prevailed him. So he's saying, I just want to make sure I get this correct. He has prevailed with God and with men. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had that correct. This is my right pen. So you've struggled with God. Wait, where is this at? You struggled with God and man and have prevailed. And that's all I'm trying to be. I'm trying to prevail with people and with the Lord. All right, 33. Esau welcomes his brother. Now Jacob lifts his eye and looked, and there Esau was coming, and with him 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two maidservants, and he put the maidservants and their children in front, Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Joseph last. Wow, let's talk about priorities. Then he crossed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near his brother. But Esau ran over to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted his eyes and saw the woman and the children and said, who are these with you? And he said, the children whom God has graciously given your servant. Then the maidservants came near, they and their children, and bowed down. And Leah also came near with her children, and they bowed down. Afterward, Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed down. Then Esau said, what do you mean by all this company which I met? And he said, these are to find favor in the sight of my Lord. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. And Jacob said, no, please, if I have now found favor in your sight, then receive my present from my hand, inasmuch I have seen your face as though I have seen the face of God, that you are pleased with me. Please take my blessing that is brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. So he urged him, and he took it. Then Esau said, let us take our journey, let us go, and I will go before you. But Jacob said to him, my Lord knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and herds are nursing are with me. And if the men shall drive them hard, one day all the flock will die. Please let my Lord go on ahead before his servant. I will lead on slowly at a pace which the livestock can go before me, and the children are able to endure, until I come to my Lord in Seir. And Esau said, now let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, what need is there? Let me find favor in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, built himself a house, and made booths for his livestock. Therefore, the name of the place is called Succoth. Okay. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth, built him a house. So he didn't go where he said he was going to go. That's what I'm getting. This is a question mark for me. It's a question mark for me. But one thing I do want to point out is, again, Jacob a little scary, because Jacob tries to run off from Laban, and then he's scared of his brother. So he tried to send all these nice presents before he even gets to him, to try to please him before. Meanwhile, both parties are like, you could have left like and told me. You didn't have to sneak off. And his brother's like, I don't even need all this stuff that you're trying to give me. And maybe that's kind of like us, where we be scared of people, and it's like, they want the best for you. But again, not all the time. So it makes sense. Anyway, Jacob arrived safely in Canaan. Then Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. When he came to Padan Aram, he pitched his tent before the city, and he bought the parcel of land which he pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected an altar there and called it El Elohi Israel. What does that mean? What does that mean? Oh, hold on. Meaning. Mighty One, God of Israel. Okay. Boom. Chapter 34. Shechem violates Dinah. Or Dinah? Is that what someone's called her name? Dinah? I can't remember. And Dinah is the daughter of Leah, I think. Of course, in the first sentence. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had born to Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, I'm pretty sure this is a Canaanite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and violated her. His soul was strongly attracted to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the young woman and spoke kindly to the woman. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, "Give me this woman as your wife." Oh, as a wife. So Shechem does that. And Shechem spoke to his father as Hamor. Okay. The families discussed a settlement. And Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter, Dinah, his daughter, and his sons were with the livestock in the field. So Jacob held his peace until they came. Then Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him. And the sons of Jacob came in from the field. And when they heard of it, the men were grieved and they were angry because he had done such a disgraceful thing in Israel by laying with Jacob's daughter, a thing which ought not to be done. But Hamor spoke with them, saying, "The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him as a wife, and make marriages with us. Give your daughters to us, and take our daughters to yourself," which is not supposed to happen. Okay, so you shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade in it, and acquire possessions for yourselves in it. Then Shechem said to his father, then Shechem said to her father and her brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say, I will give. Ask me ask me ever so much dowry and gift, and I will give according to what you say to me. But give the young woman as a wife." Boom. I'm glad I got a whole bunch of side space. I'm just making a little arrow of they, as in, I'm just putting people are not supposed to, excuse me, take Canaanites, daughters / just people, I guess, people as spouses. They did not want that. So it says Jacob's sons plot revenge. But the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father and spoke deceitfully because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said to them, "We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised." There we go. "For it would be a reproach to us. But on this condition we will consent to you. If you become as we are, if every male of you is circumcised, then we will give our daughters to you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and will become one people. But if you do not heed us and be circumcised, we will take our daughter and be gone." And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. So the young man did not delay to do the thing because he delighted in Jacob's daughter. He was more honorable than all the household of his father. So if Shechem is the one who's more honorable, that means the household of his father is raggedy. Is the most honorable. I'm gonna put question mark. And Hamor and Shechem his son came to the gate of their city and spoke with the men of the city, saying, These men are at peace with us. Therefore let them dwell in the land and trade in it. For indeed the land is large enough for them. Take us their daughters, take let us take their daughters to us as wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only on this condition will the men consent to dwell with us, to be one people. If every man among us is circumcised, as they are circumcised, will not their livestock, their property, and every animal of theirs be ours? Only let us consent to them, and they will dwell with us. And all who went out of the gate of the city heeded Hamor and Shechem his son. Every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of his city. Now it came to pass on the third day when they were in, now it came to pass on the third day when they were in pain, and two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took their sword and came boldly upon the city and killed all of the males. They killed Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah from Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and plundered the city because their sister had been defiled. They took their sheep and their oxen and their donkeys, which was in the city, and what was in the field, and all their wealth, all of their little ones and their wives they took captive, and they plundered even all that was in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, You have troubled me by making me obnoxious among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And since I am few in numbers, they will gather themselves together against me and kill me. I shall be destroyed, my household and I. And they said, Should he treat our sister like a harlot? So Dinah's brothers, Simeon and Levi, went and killed everybody when they were sore from being circumcised. And then their father is upset because like, we don't even have that many numbers for you to be doing all that craziness. Ooh, it's giving drama. Okay. 35. I think this is the last chapter. Let me double check. 28 to 35. Praise God. Okay. Chapter 35, Jacob prepares to go to Bethel. Then God said to Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there and make an altar there to God, who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother. And Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, Put away the foreign. He's just always on the move. He always running. That's what it's looking like. Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, Put away the foreign gods that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your garments. Then let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make an altar there to God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me in the way which I have gone. So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods that were in their hands and the earrings that were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the terebinth tree that was by Shechem. The journey to Bethel, and they journeyed, and the terror of God was put upon the cities that were around them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. Okay. Which means that the Lord was basically put a terror on the city, saying, like, do not touch my people as they go where they need to go. Because they didn't even have a lot of numbers. So Jacob came to Luz, that is Bethel, which is a land of Canaan, and he and all the people were with him, and he built an altar there and called it El Bethel, because God appeared to him when he fled from the face of his brother. Now Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel under the terebinth tree. So the name of it is called Elon Bachuth. Jacob is renamed Israel. Then God appeared to Jacob again when he came from Padan Aram and blessed him. And God said to him, Your name is Jacob. Your name shall not be called Jacob anymore, but Israel shall be your name. So he called his name Israel. Also God said to him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. Where you at? A nation and a company of nations shall proceed from you, and the king shall come from your body. The land which I have given Abraham and Isaac I give to you to be your descendants. After you I give this land. Then God went up from him in the place where he talked with him. So Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he had talked to him, a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering on it, and he poured oil on it. And Jacob called the name of the place where he spoke with him Bethel. Rachel dies bearing Benjamin. Then they journeyed from Bethel, And they went, and when there was but a little distance to Ephrath, Jake, whoa. Okay, Zay, you can read. Then they journeyed from Bethel, and when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, Rachel labored in childbirth, and she had a hard labor. Now it came to pass when she was in hard labor that the midwife said to her, "Do not fear, you will have this son also." And it was so, her soul was departing, for she died, and she called him Ben Benoni. But his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar on her grave, which is a pillar of Rachel's grave to this day. Reuben sins against Israel. When Israel journeyed and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder, and it happened when Israel dwelt in that land that Reuben went away and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard about it. The sons of Jacob. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maidservant, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's maidservants, were Gad, and Asher. And these were the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Padan Haram. Wait, who were the two that? So Leah's sons, Simeon and Levi, are the ones that did all that stuff when Dinah was violated. Okay, I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay, so this says Isaac dies. Then Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre, or Kirjath Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had dwelt. Now the days of Isaac were 180 years old. So Isaac breathed his last breath and died, and was gathered to his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. All right, we made it. We made it through. We finished our reading for the day. I feel like that was decent. We got some real good drama in there. We got a little Real Housewives of the Bible drama going on. I'm hoping to get on tomorrow at 5. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so I should be able to get on at 5. And yeah, I'm hoping for 5 to be my time. But again, turn on the notifications and stuff so you can see it. And if you have like a certain time you want, or if you have any questions, or even any knowledge or advice you want to give, please drop it. I will see y'all tomorrow, and y'all have a good one.